So, what if the most powerful vision of Christ, one of blazing light and just cosmic power, was deliberately hidden from the world? And what if the version you've always known is just, well, a shadow of a much more radical and maybe even dangerous reality? Let's dive into the story behind a vision that was apparently deemed too powerful to ever share. For centuries, especially in the West, Christianity has given us a very, very specific image of its central figure. You know the one I'm talking about. It's an image that's familiar, it's comforting, and it's just everywhere in our culture. But what if it's not the whole story? Not even close. And right here you can see the difference. And it is stark. On the left, you've got that gentle, serene figure, the one from Renaissance art. It's designed to soothe you, to comfort you. But on the right, from the ancient Ethiopian tradition, you get something else entirely. A being of blazing light, a cosmic force so powerful its very presence makes angels fall silent. It's overwhelming. So this really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is that familiar, gentle Jesus a carefully crafted illusion? And if it is, you have to ask, why was it created? And what exactly was it meant to replace? Well, the answers might just lie inside a Bible that most of the world has never even seen. To find the answer, we have to go to the mountains of Ethiopia. Because up there, for over 1,700 years, monks have been guarding a radically different set of scriptures. And this isn't just a slightly different version we're talking about. It is a much more ancient, a more expansive collection of texts that paints a completely different picture. Here's the best way to think about it. Imagine a vibrant, multicolored tapestry just full of fire and depth and incredible detail. Now imagine that tapestry was locked away in a vault for centuries. And in the meantime, the rest of the world was just given a simple grayscale photograph of it. It's easier to copy, sure, easier to control, but it's missing all the brilliance of the original. And the scale of what's missing is just staggering. The Protestant Bible, the one most people know, has 66 books. The Ethiopian canon, it includes up to 81. It preserves texts that were deliberately removed everywhere else, including one of the most explosive discoveries of all, the Book of Enoch. And you can see just how far back this goes. The Book of Enoch was written around 300 BCE. We're talking centuries before the birth of Christ. And it was widely known, it was respected. But then, by 363 AD, as the church started to centralize its power and standardize the message, councils made a very conscious decision to reject it. So what was in this book that made it so threatening? Well, the answer is in the pages themselves. The Book of Enoch isn't just some forgotten text. It's a piece of exceptional storytelling. It paints a picture of the divine that is so vivid, it's said to make readers literally catch their breath. And central to this whole book is a figure called the Son of Man. Now, this is not a gentle teacher. No, he is a righteous judge made of blazing light who presides over a heavenly tribunal surrounded by actual rivers of fire. This is a cosmic, overwhelming vision of authority that reality itself just seems to bend around. And get this. This is a direct quote from Enoch, written hundreds of years before the New Testament's Book of Revelation. Now hang on to that description. A head white like wool, a face full of grace. Does that ring a bell? It absolutely should. Because look at this. The parallels are just undeniable. On the left, you've got Enoch's prophecy from 300 BCE. On the right, John's vision in Revelation, written almost 400 years later. The descriptions are nearly identical. A head white like wool, feet like polished bronze, eyes like blazing fire, a voice with immense power. Enoch provided the blueprint centuries before it happened. And hey, this isn't some fringe theory. The New Testament itself backs this up. The Epistle of Jude actually quotes the Book of Enoch directly, treating it like it's authoritative prophecy. So the earliest Christians, they clearly knew this book and they valued it, which brings us right back to the biggest question of all. Why on earth was it buried? And this gets us to the motive. A text this powerful, this prophetic, it doesn't just get misplaced, it gets removed. The vision of a cosmic Christ and the teachings that came with it were just too dangerous for the growing institutional church. And here is exactly why. The teachings in these Ethiopian texts, they empowered the individual. They basically suggested that salvation wasn't something handed down by a priest, but it was an internal awakening to the light that's already inside you. That single idea threatened the entire hierarchy. If people don't need a middleman to get to God, then why do they need to pay tithes or buy indulgences? The entire financial and political model was at risk. This one line, preserved in that Ethiopian tradition, it's the core of the whole dangerous idea. So often, Western tradition has emphasized that humanity is fallen, sinful dust. But this says something so radically different, that the divine is already inside you, that you are, by your very nature, a child of light. So it all boiled down to control. The emerging church built its authority on being the necessary bridge, the intermediary between God and humanity. But these texts suggested that every single person could be their own bridge, that the kingdom of heaven was truly within. And for an institution that was being built on authority, that was a message that absolutely had to be silenced. You know, the story of the Ethiopian Bible in the Book of Enoch is such a powerful reminder that history is usually written by the victors. The version we get is the one that was standardized, approved, and handed down by those who were in power.
And this leaves us with a really profound and maybe a little unsettling final thought. If a vision of Christ this powerful, this vivid, could be so completely wiped from the mainstream narrative, it forces us to ask, what else is still hidden? What other brilliant, multicolored tapestries are still locked away in a vault somewhere, just waiting to be discovered?